Cape Town is a city that feels almost unreal in its composition, hemmed in by the towering presence of Table Mountain on one side and the vast Atlantic Ocean on the other. The light here is different. It shifts dramatically throughout the day, casting deep shadows across the city's modern skyline and historic streets. From the bustling energy of its waterfront to the quiet charm of its older neighborhoods, Cape Town constantly moves between contrasts, nature and urban life, history and reinvention. What makes the city especially captivating is how quickly it changes character. One moment you are in a cosmopolitan hub filled with cafes and art galleries, and the next you are driving along a cliffside road with nothing but ocean stretching to the horizon. It is a place where stories feel larger than life, where every corner, whether it is a mountain trail or a seaside boulevard, feels like the opening scene of something cinematic. The geography of the peninsula creates a unique microclimate where the weather can transform within a few kilometers. You might find the city center drenched in sunlight, while the peaks of the 12 Apostles are shrouded in a thick tablecloth of clouds. This dramatic environmental theater influences the psychology of the city. People here live in a state of constant awareness of the elements. The mountain is not just a backdrop but a compass and a silent protagonist in the daily lives of every resident. Sea Point stretches along the Atlantic coastline like a living postcard, its promenade constantly alive with joggers, cyclists, and families soaking in the ocean air. The rhythm of the waves becomes part of daily life here, crashing against the rocks just meters away from the walkway. Palm trees line the path, and as the sun dips, the sky ignites in shades of orange and violet, reflecting off the water in a way that feels almost surreal. There is a comforting familiarity to Sea Point. It is vibrant without being overwhelming. By day, it feels open and breezy, a place to breathe and unwind. By night, it transforms into something softer and more intimate, with the hum of distant conversations and the steady glow of city lights blending into the sound of the sea. It is a place that invites both movement and stillness. The architecture of Sea Point tells a story of layers, where Art Deco apartment blocks stand shoulder to shoulder with modern glass penthouses. This density creates a communal energy rarely found elsewhere in the suburbs. On any given morning, the saltwater swimming pools at the pavilion are filled with locals braving the cold Atlantic water, a ritual that speaks to the grit and vitality of the neighborhood. The smells of salt spray mix with the aromas of diverse cuisines from the many small eateries lining the main road, creating a sensory experience that is quintessentially coastal. Greenpoint carries a slightly more polished contemporary energy while still holding on to the natural beauty of the region. Wide streets, stylish apartments and pockets of greenery define the area, with the iconic stadium standing as a modern landmark. It feels curated in a way, clean, organized and effortlessly stylish, yet never detached from the surrounding landscape. Despite its urban feel, Greenpoint offers moments of quiet retreat. Parks and open spaces give you room to pause, while the nearby ocean is never far from sight. It is the kind of place where city life feels manageable, even serene, and where the line between lifestyle and leisure blurs in subtle, appealing ways. The Greenpoint Biodiversity Garden serves as a sanctuary within this urban framework. It is a meticulously designed space that showcases the indigenous flora of the Western Cape, providing a soft contrast to the hard edges of the stadium architecture. Here, the sound of the wind through the fever trees replaces the noise of traffic. This area has successfully bridged the gap between the busy central business district and the relaxed Atlantic seaboard, serving as a transit point that encourages people to slow down and appreciate the intentionality of modern urban planning. Kalk Bay feels like a hidden world tucked between mountains and sea, its harbour framed by towering cliffs that seem to guard the town from the outside. The air here carries a distinct freshness, tinged with salt and the faint scent of fishing boats returning with their catch. It is quieter than the city, more introspective, with a rhythm that follows the tide rather than the clock. There is a rugged beauty to Kalk Bay that makes it feel authentic and untouched. The surrounding mountains shift in color as the light changes, and the ocean can be calm one moment and wild the next. It is a place that feels grounded, where life slows just enough for you to notice the details, the sound of gulls, the movement of clouds, the hush of waves rolling in. The harbor is the heart of this community, acting as a functional workspace for the local fishing fleet, while doubling as a destination for those seeking the freshest harvest from the sea. Seal Island sits just a short boat ride away, a rocky outcrop teeming with life that reminds visitors of the raw, untamed nature just beyond the breakwater. Driving into Kalk Bay via Chapman's Peak Drive provides one of the most breathtaking entries into any town on Earth, the road carved directly into the mountain face, offering a perspective of the bay that is both dizzying and majestic. Simonstown carries the weight of history in a way that feels tangible. Its streets are lined with old buildings that whisper of its past as a naval base, and there is a quiet dignity in its layout, orderly, measured, and steeped in tradition. The mountains rise behind it, while the bay stretches out calmly in front, creating a sense of balance and stillness. What sets Simonstown apart is its gentle pace. It does not demand attention. It reveals itself slowly. The presence of nearby wildlife, especially the famous penguins at Boulders Beach, adds a layer of charm that feels almost whimsical. It is a place where history, nature, and quiet beauty coexist without needing to compete. The naval influence is visible everywhere, from the statues of famous canine residents like Just Nuisance to the grey vessels docked in the harbour. There is a sense of naval discipline that seems to have seeped into the very stones of the town. Yet this formality is softened by the Victorian architecture and the warmth of the local antique shops. It is a place of memory, where the Victorian era meets the African coastline, creating an atmosphere that feels both nostalgic and enduring. Franschhoek feels like a retreat from the intensity of city life, defined by its long, sweeping beach and calm, clear waters. The bay curves gently, creating a sense of enclosure and safety that makes it especially inviting. Mornings here are soft and quiet, with the sun rising slowly over the mountains and casting a golden glow across the sand. There is a simplicity to Franschhoek that makes it deeply comforting. It is not about spectacle or grandeur. It is about ease, about the steady rhythm of waves and the unhurried pace of daily life. It is the kind of place where time seems to stretch, where moments linger just a little longer than they should. The town serves as a hub for retirees and families alike, drawn by the sheltered nature of the beach, which lacks the aggressive surf found on the Atlantic side. This creates a community focused on wellness and gentle recreation. The trekker fishermen who still operate on these shores provide a link to a bygone era, pulling in nets by hand in a tradition that has survived the pressures of modernization. This connection to the past gives Franschhoek a grounded, unpretentious soul. Kalk Bay is effortlessly charming, its narrow streets filled with character and creativity. Colourful buildings lean into one another, housing cafes, galleries, and antique shops that feel curated yet authentic. The working harbour adds a layer of grit beneath the charm, with fishing boats and seabirds creating a constant sense of movement. There is an artistic soul to Kalk Bay that sets it apart. It feels lived in, expressive, and slightly unpredictable. The ocean is always present, sometimes calm, sometimes restless, and the entire town seems to respond to its mood. It is a place where stories feel close to the surface, waiting to be told. The main road is a narrow artery that pulses with life, especially on weekends when visitors flock to find treasures in the dusty corners of second-hand bookstores or to eat fish and chips on the harbour wall. There is a bohemian spirit that permeates the air, an acceptance of the eccentric and the weathered. The sea spray often coats the windows of the shops, a constant reminder that the Atlantic is the true landlord of this village. Stellenbosch feels like stepping into a different era, its oak-lined streets and whitewashed buildings creating a sense of timeless elegance. The town is surrounded by vineyards that stretch endlessly toward the mountains, their symmetry adding to the feeling of order and beauty. There is a quiet sophistication here, one that does not need to announce itself. Beyond its appearance, Stellenbosch carries a deeper atmosphere of reflection and tradition. The pace is slower, more deliberate, and there is a sense that history lingers in every corner. It is a place where the past and present exist side by side, creating a mood that feels both grounded and romantic. As a center of learning and viticulture, the town has a dual identity. It is at once a bustling university hub and a sanctuary of high culture. The Cape Dutch architecture, with its distinctive gables, provides a visual narrative of the early settlers, while the vibrant student population ensures the town remains forward-looking. Walking through the center, one feels the weight of the massive oaks, many of which are centuries old, providing a canopy of shade that seems to cool the very spirit of the place. Franschhoek is small, but it carries an unmistakable sense of refinement. Surrounded by mountains that seem to cradle the valley, the town feels almost protected, as though it exists in its own quiet world. Vineyards and estates stretch out in every direction, giving the landscape a sense of abundance and calm. There is an intimacy to Franschhoek that makes it especially appealing. It does not overwhelm, it invites. The air feels still, the light softer, and the overall atmosphere leans toward indulgence and rest. It is a place where time slows not out of necessity, but by design. The French Huguenot heritage is celebrated in everything from the monuments to the names of the wine farms. This European influence has blended with the African soil to create a culinary capital that is world-renowned. The valley is often draped in mist in the early mornings, making the jagged peaks appear like islands in a white sea. It is a destination for the senses, where the taste of the wine and the scent of the fynbos create an intoxicating mix of luxury and wilderness. Paarl carries a quieter confidence compared to its more famous neighbors. Its rolling hills and vineyards create a landscape that feels expansive yet grounded, with the massive granite rock formations standing as silent witnesses to the long history of the area. There is a sense of stability here, something enduring and unchanging. Unlike more polished destinations, Paarl feels lived in and authentic. It does not try to impress, it simply exists, comfortable in its identity. The beauty here is subtle, revealing itself over time rather than all at once, making it a place that rewards patience and attention. The Paarl Mountain Nature Reserve offers hiking trails that lead to the summit of the Great Granite Boulders, providing panoramic views of the Berg River Valley. The town itself is elongated, stretching along the base of the mountain, which gives it a unique linear feel. It is a place of industry and agriculture, where the work of the land is still the primary focus. This creates a no-nonsense atmosphere that is refreshing and deeply rooted in the earth. Hermanus is defined by its relationship with the ocean, where dramatic cliffs drop into deep blue waters below. The coastline feels powerful and untamed, especially when waves crash against the rocks with a force that echoes through the air. During whale season, the town takes on an almost magical quality as these massive creatures glide just offshore. There is a sense of awe in Hermanus that is hard to ignore. It is not just beautiful, it is humbling. The scale of the landscape, the movement of the sea, and the presence of wildlife all combine to create an experience that feels larger than life, as though you are witnessing something ancient and enduring. The cliff paths offer miles of walking trails that hug the edge of the continent, providing a front-row seat to the spectacle of the Southern Ocean. Hermanus has grown from a small fishing village into a sophisticated destination, yet it has managed to retain its connection to the wild. The air here is said to be among the purest in the world, a crisp champagne-like breeze that invigorates the soul. Gordons Bay offers a gentler version of the coastal beauty of the region, with warmer waters and a more relaxed atmosphere. The beach curves softly along the shoreline, and the mountains rise in the distance without dominating the scene. It feels open, welcoming, and easy to settle into. What makes Gordons Bay special is its sense of calm. It does not demand attention or spectacle, it simply exists as a place of quiet enjoyment. Sunsets here are particularly striking, as the sky reflects off the water in soft, glowing tones that linger long after the sun has disappeared. The harbour area, known as Bikini Beach, is a sheltered spot that feels a world away from the windier beaches of the Atlantic seaboard. The Steenbras Mountain provides a dramatic backdrop, and the Clarence Drive coastal road starts here, winding its way toward the Whale Coast. It is a gateway town, a place where the journey begins, and where the water feels just a little bit kinder to those who wish to swim. Noordhoek feels wild and untamed, its long, wind-swept beach stretching out in a way that makes you feel small against the vastness of nature. The landscape is open and raw, with dunes, ocean and sky blending into one continuous horizon. It is a place that feels untouched, almost distant from the modern world. There is a solitude to Noordhoek that makes it deeply atmospheric. It is not about crowds or activity. It is about space, silence, and the feeling of being somewhere truly expansive. The wind, the waves, and the endless stretch of sand create a mood that is both peaceful and powerful. The presence of horses on the beach is a common sight, their hoofprints the only mark on the vast white sand. The Kakapo shipwreck sits half buried in the dunes, a rusted skeleton that serves as a reminder of the treacherous nature of this coastline. Noordhoek is where the suburban ends and the wilderness truly takes over, a place for those who seek to lose themselves in the scale of the African landscape.